Not every Assassin's Creed character is created equal. Some are regular humans with a blade and a dream, others are literally reincarnated gods carrying weapons that can rewrite reality. So today, I'm ranking 15 of the most powerful characters in the entire franchise, from the most human to the most broken. And we're starting at the very bottom with a guy who's basically just a dude, Arno Dorian. Here's the thing about ranking power in Assassin's Creed, it's not just about who can swing a sword the fastest. It's about Isu DNA, pieces of Eden, and superhuman feats that make you question whether a character even qualifies as mortal. And that's exactly why Arno Dorian is our starting point. Born in 1768, Arno became a master assassin of the French Brotherhood during the Revolution. He's trained, he's lethal, and he's got a rare variation of eagle vision called Eagle Pulse that lets him perceive hidden environmental details most people would walk right past, which is, pretty cool for a party trick. But here's the kicker. He never obtained a piece of Eden. He has 0 confirmed Isu ancestry. Both Abstergo and the Initiates studied his genetic memories and found nothing suggesting he was more than an exceptionally talented human. Arno is elite. But in a franchise where people wield staffs that grant literal immortality, being really good with a hidden blade only gets you so far, but if you think starting at the bottom means things stay grounded, wait until you meet a kunoichi raised by 2 separate warrior traditions at once. Fujibayashi Naoi. Naoi is what happens when you combine 2 of the deadliest traditions in history and put them in one person. Born around 1564 in the middle of Japan's Sengoku period, she was trained as a kunoichi by her father Fujibayashi Nagato, one of Iga's top shinobi. Her mother Tsuyu was a full master assassin, so Naoi inherited both shinobi techniques and brotherhood traditions before most people learn how to hold a sword properly, and it shows. Her combat style is built entirely around agility and precision, dodging strikes, deflecting attacks into counters, vaulting over enemies to hit them where they can't defend. She's arguably the best pure stealth operative on this entire list. Nobody disappears into shadows better than Naoi. But here's the thing. She has eagle vision, which is great, except hers only works when she's standing still or moving at walking pace. That's like having night vision goggles that turn off every time you jog. It's a genuine handicap that forces her to slow down in situations where other assassins would just keep pushing forward. She also worked to rebuild the Kakushiba Ikki, an entire assassin guild within Japan, which proves she's more than just a blade in the dark. Leadership counts. But stealth and agility can only carry you so far in a power ranking, especially when the next entry has 0 such limitations. Evie Frye. This is where the list starts getting weird. Evie Frye is technically a normal human. No confirmed Isu DNA, no pieces of Eden, no ancient bloodline nonsense. She's just a Victorian-era assassin running around London with her twin brother Jacob, and yet somehow she can crush a man's spine with one arm. Let me explain. Evie's toolkit alone puts her in a different category. Dual hidden blades, cane swords, kukris, voltaic bombs that literally discharge electricity on impact, and a rope launcher that lets her scale buildings like she's got a grappling hook from a Batman movie. She's less stealthy assassin and more one-woman armory, but the gadgets aren't even the impressive part. Evie possesses something called the chameleon ability, which renders her completely invisible as long as she stays still. That's not a skill. That's a superpower, there's no explanation for it. She just does it. Then there's her durability. She tanks visceral stab wounds and regenerates naturally without any medical attention. Her strikes send multiple grown adults flying several meters. She casually snaps bones like she's breaking breadsticks. All of this from a woman with 0 confirmed supernatural heritage. Evie is the point on this list where Assassin's Creed's definition of human starts bending in ways that don't really make sense. Which is fine, because the next entry threw that definition in the trash entirely. Shay Cormac. Shay Cormac is the franchise's ultimate double agent, and that alone makes him dangerous in ways most assassins aren't. Born in 1731 in New York City, Shay trained as a Colonial Brotherhood assassin under mentor Achilles Davenport before doing something nobody in the series had done before. He defected, switched sides entirely, and became a Master Templar of the Colonial Rite. Here's the thing. Most characters on this list learned 1 playbook. Shay learned 2. He retained every Brotherhood combat technique, every stealth methodology, every parkour instinct, and then layered Templar training on top of it. That's like knowing exactly how a lock works because you built it, and then learning how to pick it anyway. By 1752, He'd achieved the rank of captain, commanding his own sloop of war, the Morrigan, and was retrieving Isu artifacts, including a precursor box and the Voynich manuscript. The man could fight on land, command a warship at sea, and handle first civilization technology. Not a bad resume. Now Shay's specific ability documentation is thinner than most protagonists on this list, but what we do know paints a picture of someone uniquely versatile. He's unpredictable precisely because he doesn't fight like a Templar or an assassin. He fights like both, and if you're trying to counter someone who knows every trick in your arsenal because he used to be one of you, good luck with that. But if you think dual training is impressive, wait until you meet the pirate who stumbled into the Brotherhood almost by accident, Edward Kenway. Most assassins need years of Brotherhood training before they can even perceive the world differently. Edward Kenway was born with eagle vision and didn't even know what it was. He just thought he was lucky. Here's the thing about Edward. He was never supposed to be an assassin. He was a privateer, a pirate captain, a guy chasing gold and glory across the Caribbean during the golden age of piracy. He stumbled into the Assassin-Templar War almost by accident, killed a turncoat assassin named Duncan Walpole, stole his robes, and just kept going. Which is, not the traditional recruitment process, but what makes Edward genuinely impressive is the observatory. This was one of the most dangerous ICU artifacts in the entire series, a device capable of spying on anyone in the world through their blood. Edward found it, secured it, and had the presence of mind to hand it directly to the Brotherhood rather than exploit it for personal gain. That's a massive feat for a guy with zero formal training. The tragedy is what it cost him. By the time Edward finally committed to the assassin cause, he'd buried nearly every person he cared about. His crew, his friends, his allies. All gone. His natural eagle vision suggests latent genetic potential he never fully unlocked, and you have to wonder what he could have become with proper training from the start. Instead, he got wisdom the hard way, through loss. But if Edward's story is one of wasted potential, the next entry is someone who maximized every advantage she had, Aveline de Grandpré. This is where the list stops being about really skilled humans and starts being about something else entirely. Aveline de Grandpré isn't just another assassin with a blade and a grudge. She's one of the most versatile operatives the Brotherhood has ever produced, and the gap between her and most of her peers is immediately obvious. Despite operating in one of the most hostile environments imaginable, colonial Louisiana, Aveline dominates every situation she walks into. Her combat skills are exceptional across multiple weapon types, from machetes to muskets to her signature sugarcane knife. She's not overpowering people through brute force alone, she's adapting faster than anyone around her can react. Her mobility, reflexes, and tactical awareness are all superior to most assassins, and not by a small margin. But here's the detail that really sells it. Aveline's real weapon isn't a blade at all, it's her persona system. She can seamlessly shift between three distinct identities: the assassin, the slave, and the lady, each one granting her access to places and people the others can't touch. Most assassins have one approach: climb, stab, run. Aveline has an entire social toolkit that lets her infiltrate high society ballrooms and slave quarters with equal ease, which is, not ideal for anyone trying to keep secrets from her. She also operates almost entirely independently for long stretches of her career without the support network most Brotherhood members rely on. Strip away the mentor, the bureau, the backup, and Aveline is still dangerous. Most assassins are deadly because of their order. Aveline is deadly because she's Aveline. But if you think a master of disguise and deception is impressive, wait until you see what raw samurai brutality looks like. Yasuke, every Assassin's Creed protagonist, has at least pretended to care about stealth. Yasuke looked at that tradition and said no thanks. He's the franchise's first character built entirely around walking through the front door and making it everyone else's problem, and his ability kit reads like someone accidentally pasted in a fighting game moveset. Impenetrable defense makes him briefly invincible, automatically countering incoming hits for 20 seconds or 5 attacks. So you can literally stand in the middle of a group of enemies, vibing while they break their weapons on you. Brutal assassination lets him one-shot tougher enemies with multiple health bars, a nice reminder that he can be subtle when he wants to. He just doesn't want to. But here's where it gets ridiculous. Late-game Yasuke stops being a character and starts being a natural disaster. Eternal Samurai renders him effectively invulnerable while plowing through enemies like a bowling ball through tissue paper. Ultimate Onslaught makes his attacks completely immune to blocking or parrying, which means enemy defense just stops being a concept. You can't guard against this man, you can only accept what's happening. And then there's the combo that breaks everything. Samurai Frenzy extends his powered state by 3 seconds for every kill. So the more people he fights, the longer he stays powered up, which means he kills more people, which means he stays powered up longer. It's a snowball rolling downhill, except the snowball has a katana and 0 chill. Throw in Crushing Shockwave, and you've got a one-man siege engine. In a straight fight, very few characters on this list could survive his late-game toolkit. He's not an assassin, he's a force of nature someone accidentally put in an assassin game. But if raw power without finesse is terrifying, wait until you meet someone who has both in equal measure. Connor Kenway. If you asked the Assassin's Creed community which protagonist would win a bare-knuckle fistfight, no weapons, no gadgets, no pieces of Eden, just raw physical strength, the answer you'd get most often is Connor. And honestly, it's not a controversial pick. Born in 1756 to a Kanien'kehá:ka mother and a British father, Ratan Hanhake Tun grew up in the wilderness of colonial America before being taken under the wing of Achilles Davenport. Achilles trained him at the Colonial Brotherhood's headquarters, turning him into a master assassin with deep proficiency in stealth, swordsmanship, and hand-to-hand combat. But here's the thing. Connor didn't just learn how to fight like an assassin. He fought like a force of nature wearing an assassin's hood. His Kanien'kehá:ka heritage gave him a completely different combat foundation than the European-trained assassins we'd seen before. This wasn't fencing, this wasn't calculated Italian swordplay. Connor fought with a brutality and physicality that made other master assassins look like they were performing choreography. The man could disarm a soldier and break him in half in the same motion, casually, like he was annoyed more than threatened. He's also an ancestor to Desmond Miles through paternal descent, along with Victor Flores Castillo and Noah Kim, so his bloodline carries serious narrative weight across the franchise's timeline. But Connor represents something specific on this list. He's the ceiling of what pure physical power can achieve without Isu artifacts or divine heritage doing the heavy lifting. No apples, no staves, no ancient god living in his subconscious. Just a man who could probably bench press a musket cannon if you asked him nicely, which makes him the perfect segue, because the next entry on this list inherited Connor's bloodline and used it for something far beyond fistfights. Desmond Miles. Desmond Miles is the most frustrating what-if in the entire franchise. Born in 1987, raised on an assassin compound, and descended from basically every legendary killer on this list. Altair, Ezio, Connor, Edward Kenway. His bloodline reads like an all-star roster of people who could ruin your day in under 3 seconds. But Desmond didn't start out as a fighter. He ran away from the Brotherhood at 16, spent years bartending in New York, and got kidnapped by Abstergo Industries in 2012. They shoved him into the Animus as Subject 17 and forced him to relive Altair's genetic memories, which is, not ideal. Here's where it gets interesting though. The Animus had a side effect called the bleeding effect, and it basically broke the rules of what should be possible. Extended exposure to his ancestors' memories didn't just show Desmond what they could do, it literally transferred their abilities into his body. Centuries of assassin training, combat instincts, free-running technique, eagle vision, all of it compressed and downloaded into one modern-day bartender like the world's most violent software update. By the end, Desmond could fight trained Abstergo agents with skills he never technically learned. He was carrying the combined muscle memory of history's greatest assassins without spending a single day in a training ring. The man was a walking hard drive of death, and then he died, 25 years old. Sacrificed himself to save the world from a solar flare, and that was it. We never got to see what Desmond could become with a full lifetime to develop those abilities. He's the convergence point of the franchise's most powerful bloodlines, and he barely got to use any of it. But if you think unrealized potential is tragic, wait until you meet the man who built the Brotherhood from nothing. Bayek is the origin point. Born around 85 BCE, he was one of Egypt's last Medjay, and alongside his wife Aya, co-founded the Hidden Ones. That's the organization that eventually became the Assassin Brotherhood. Every single assassin that came after him exists because of what he started, and the guy had the toolkit to back it up. First, his eagle vision. Most assassins can tag enemies through walls and call it a day. Bayek could perfectly recreate past events, read a person's true intentions just by touching them, and revisit their actual memories. That's not eagle vision, that's a full forensic investigation happening inside his skull in real time. Then there's the Isu hybrid status. Bayek naturally lacked the neurotransmitters required for pieces of Eden to control his mind. While other characters needed willpower or special training to resist those artifacts, Bayek's brain was just built different. Literally. The mind control signal shows up and his neurons go, no thanks, we don't accept those here. His physical feats are genuinely absurd. The man could outswim crocodiles and hippos underwater, which is not a sentence I expected to write today. He demonstrated extreme pain tolerance to the point of sacrificing entire limbs without flinching. He possessed pressure point strikes capable of knocking opponents unconscious instantly, and a rage mode that amplified his combat output beyond anything a normal human should be capable of. He could also summon and manipulate animals through his eagle Sanu and various tamed wildlife, essentially turning Egypt's ecosystem into a personal army. But here's the thing, Bayek built the foundation for everything. He has the Isu genetics, the versatile eagle vision, the borderline superhuman physicality, but the man who inherited his brotherhood and refined it into something legendary, that's a whole different conversation. Altair ibn Lahad. This is the one who started it all. Born in 1165, Altair ibn Lahad served as mentor of the Levantine Brotherhood from 1191 until his death in 1257. That's 66 years of continuous service. Nobody else in the franchise even comes close to that kind of tenure. But here's the thing. Altair wasn't just a great assassin who happened to live a long time. The Apple of Eden turned him into something else entirely. It didn't just make him stronger, it made him smarter. Through that artifact, he gained superhuman intelligence, weapon mastery far beyond anything that existed in his era, and an intimate knowledge of human pressure, points that let him incapacitate targets with surgical precision. He basically downloaded centuries of combat knowledge directly into his brain, and his physical feats are genuinely ridiculous. Altair could casually defeat multiple enemies wearing full mail armor with his bare hands, not struggling, not barely surviving. Casually, he'd break bones like they were made of chalk, stab through helmeted heads, and rotate them a full 360 degrees, which is, not ideal for the helmet wearer. His raw strength let him toss large crates aside like cardboard boxes, move dense metal containers without breaking a sweat, and overpower armored opponents who had every physical advantage on paper. Just pure Apple-enhanced brutality. But what really separates Altair from the pack isn't just what he could do in a fight, it's what he left behind. His Apple of Eden discoveries and inventions reshaped the entire Brotherhood's capabilities for centuries after his death. He advanced the Order's technology, philosophy, and methodology in ways that every single assassin after him benefited from. He didn't just play the game, he rewrote the rules. And yet somehow there's one assassin who might have taken everything Altair built and elevated it even further. Ezio Auditore da Firenze. There's a reason this man got 3 entire games. Nobody else in the franchise has that. Not Altair, not Cassandra, not Connor. 3 full titles dedicated to watching one person grow from a cocky 17-year-old Florentine nobleman into the most respected mentor the Brotherhood has ever produced. And every single year of that journey earned its place. Ezio was born in 1459 and didn't die until 1524, giving the franchise 65 years of material to pull from. He served as mentor of the Italian Brotherhood from 1503 to 1513, a decade of leadership that reshaped the order across an entire continent. But here's the thing, Ezio didn't start with any of that. He started as a rich kid who liked girls and fistfights. The transformation from there to Master Assassin wasn't handed to him. It was years of resource building, recruit training, political maneuvering, and continuous skill sharpening that turned him into the complete package. And the Apple of Eden didn't just obey him, it talked to him. Ezio could directly converse with the artifact, an interface capability that almost nobody in the franchise achieves. That level of Isu interaction suggests something deeper running through his blood, something Abstergo clearly noticed, because his genetic material became the cornerstone of their entire Animus project. His bloodline produced Desmond Miles, Clay Kaczmarek, William Miles, and Noah Kim, 4 critical subjects from one man's DNA. That's not a coincidence. That's proof his genetics were among the most potent the Templars ever got their hands on. Where Altair had the Apple's knowledge, Ezio had the Apple's knowledge plus 3 decades of documented peak combat performance, plus organizational leadership that rebuilt the Brotherhood from the ground up. He's the full package: combat, artifact control, legacy, and leadership, all verified across the longest character arc the franchise has ever committed to. But if you think a legendary mentor is impressive, wait until you meet the man carrying an actual god inside his head, Basim Ibn Ishaq. Up until now, every character on this list has been a human, an exceptionally talented, borderline superhuman human, sure, but still a human. Basim Ibn Ishaq is where that stops, because Basim isn't really Basim. He's Loki, wearing a person like a suit. Born around 844 CE in Samara, Basim spent most of his early life thinking he was just a regular hidden one with a talent for killing people, but he kept having these visions. Terrible, vivid hallucinations of a jinn stalking him, tormenting him with images he couldn't explain. Not exactly a restful sleep situation. Turns out those weren't hallucinations at all. They were repressed memories from a literal god trying to wake up inside his skull. Here's what actually happened. Before the Great Catastrophe wiped out the Isu, Loki used the Yggdrasil supercomputer to seed his genetic code directly into humanity's gene pool. He essentially hacked the future of human reproduction to guarantee that one day, a human would be born carrying his consciousness. That human was Basim, which means every moment of Basim's life before his awakening was just Loki's alarm clock slowly going off, and once that alarm finishes, the abilities are genuinely absurd. Shape-shifting into any desired form, teleportation over short distances, electrical generation through his sword, including throwing lightning shards at targets, explosive light ball mines that he just casually stabs out of the ground. He fights like someone who's had thousands of years to get bored of conventional combat. But the real power spike came in 2020 when Basim acquired the staff of Hermes Trismegistus from Layla Hassan. That staff grants biological immortality and regeneration to physical prime. So now you've got a trickster god's consciousness inside an immortal body with shape-shifting, teleportation, and electrical attacks. Cool. That's also a thing that happened. What makes Basim truly dangerous isn't even the abilities, though. It's the patience. Loki engineered his own survival across millennia. He's not a brute, he's a manipulator who happens to have divine power, and that combination is arguably scarier than raw strength alone. But speaking of raw strength combined with divine power, Basim's ancient rival is up next. Eivor Varinsdottir. If Basim is the reincarnation of Loki, then Eivor is the reincarnation of his boss. Literally. Eivor Varinsdottir, the wolf-kissed, Viking shield maiden from Norway, is the human incarnation of Odin. Not a minor god, not some mid-tier deity, the chief of the Aesir, the king of the Norse pantheon, walking around 9th century England picking fights with King Alfred the Great. And here's where the scale of this gets genuinely insane. Before the Great Catastrophe wiped out the Isu civilization entirely, Odin and 7 of his most trusted followers hatched a plan so desperate it borders on delusional. They uploaded their DNA, memories, and consciousnesses into a supercomputer called Yggdrasil, using a catalyst stolen from the Capitoline Triad, gambling everything on the chance that the machine would reincarnate them in future human bodies. The group included Odin, Freya, Tyr, Thor, Sif, Heimdall, Idun, and Freyr. 8 Isu, staring down the literal end of their species, plugging themselves into a machine and hoping for the best. That's not a backup plan. That's a Hail Mary thrown during an earthquake. And Eivor carries the weight of the one who organized it. She possesses eagle vision, confirming a high concentration of Isu DNA, and she inherited millennia of Isu knowledge and capabilities in human form. Not just combat instincts or vague feelings, the actual memories and consciousness of the god who led an entire pantheon. So why does she edge out Basim? Simple hierarchy. Odin outranked Loki. Basim inherited the schemes and cunning of one trickster god. Eivor inherited the leadership, knowledge, and authority of the being who commanded all of them. Loki was clever, Odin was in charge. There's a difference. But even a reborn god has limits, and the character above Eivor doesn't just carry divine blood. She achieved something Odin never could. Cassandra. Cassandra doesn't just top this list, she breaks it. Born as a hybrid with an unusually high concentration of Isu DNA, higher than virtually any other character in the entire franchise, Cassandra was genetically built different from the moment she took her first breath. That alone would make her dangerous. But then you hand her the Spear of Leonidas, a piece of Eden inherited from her maternal grandfather, King Leonidas I of Sparta, and suddenly you've got a demigod running around ancient Greece with superhuman strength, speed, and combat abilities that make every other warrior on the battlefield look like they're moving through wet cement. And she wasn't just swinging a fancy spear around for fun. Cassandra systematically dismantled the cult of Cosmos and purged the Order from Greece entirely. Two shadow organizations that had been manipulating civilization for generations, and she gutted them both. After that, her father Pythagoras entrusted her with the staff of Hermes Trismegistus, which is, kind of a big deal. Here's the thing about the staff. It grants biological immortality, full stop. It prevents physical aging, possesses instantaneous regenerative functions, and kept Pythagoras alive for decades inside Atlantis without food or water. The man was just standing there in a cave, vibing, sustained entirely by a magic stick. And Cassandra took that staff and has wielded it for over 2,000 years. She was alive before the Roman Empire existed, and she's still walking around. Every single character on this list, she watched them live. She watched them die. She kept going, but it gets even deeper than raw power. Through her son Elpidios, Cassandra's bloodline eventually produced Aya, co-founder of the Hidden Ones. Her DNA literally created the Brotherhood, the entire assassin order that every character on this list either served, fought, or died for traces back to her family tree. No other character in the franchise matches what Cassandra brings to the table. Two supremely powerful pieces of Eden wielded simultaneously, the highest documented Isu DNA concentration of any protagonist, biological immortality spanning millennia, and a genetic legacy that founded the very organization at the heart of the entire series. She's not number one because of one thing. It's the combination. The genetics, the artifacts, and the legacy stacked on top of each other until no one else can even see her from where they're standing. Everyone else on this list is powerful. Cassandra is eternal. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, click the video on the screen now.